Hey everyone, welcome to the Tellor community call. We're in June already, geez. June 1st, 2021. So should be a relatively short call. By the way, Brenda, do we have any questions, or did somebody pull up the questions? I don't know. So I can pull them up, but anyway, I'll go into the actual announcements first. The first thing, so there have been a lot of disputes over the last few days, kind of over the last 12 hours, actually. It all stems from one dispute ID. One of them is not that ID, but I think that was a mistake trying to be this ID. The rest of them are ID 57, which is the DeFi total value locked. One of the APIs that people normally query was returning 0. Some miners, if you were using the official Tellor system, you were kind of notified of this. I don't think it would break, but some people maybe weren't. Or anyway, it had some issues as far as averaging, and some people had submitted some bad values, and it led to a whole bunch of disputes. I think most, if not all, we're still trying to determine if it's all of them or just most of them are actually self-disputes. So a self-dispute is where a miner realizes he puts on a bad value and he disputes himself. And it freezes him for 2 days, but basically, we're going to vote in whichever way is correct as far as the value goes. So but it's not like a miner is getting slashed or anything like that. He's actually just, he saw he posted something wrong and he took it off the chain himself, which is super cool that people do that. Anyway, we pushed a patch in the Tellor system to kind of better help to handle this, and some of the failing APIs. And long story short, if you're one of these affected miners, definitely reach out to us. If you're not an affected miner, nothing has changed. The system's still operational. If you want to vote on these, you're more than welcome to. I think they're all self-disputes, so it's not like they're going to be contentious one way or the other. But just letting you guys know what's going on for some of the, some of these disputes that are popping up, and if you're on the Discord and see anything like that in the miner channel. So that said, we're also going to be, it's kind of given us a good excuse to do something that we've wanted to do for a while, which is kind of go back over all of the request IDs and really spec them out. We'd love your guys' input on this. So mainly we want to know, what does it mean to be a good value? So whenever somebody says, like, ID, there's an ID that's the Bitcoin price. What is a valid Bitcoin price that somebody puts on chain? You're obviously medianizing a whole bunch of different values. But if somebody else isn't medianizing a whole bunch of different values, but it's still, say, just the Coinbase price, is that a valid one? Probably. But we should have it sort of spec'd out, so in cases like these disputes, when they come up, it's almost very legalistic as far as we go and look at the definitions. This is what the definition said. You were outside of this definition, and it makes it very easy. And it's, of course, there's always ambiguity anytime you're saying what's correct or not correct whenever it comes to a number. But the more we can kind of type this up and make it transparent, I think kind of the more clarity we'll have for the miners and both the users on the network. So be ready for that. Other things. Don't know if you guys saw, the Tellor team is on the front page of the Frederick News Post. We made our local newspaper, which is super exciting. We were happy about that. It's a little bit of a lighter story, you could say. Other things, Sean or Ryan, any updates on the Ample forum? So if you guys knew, we put in a proposal to Ampleforth, and now it's kind of up for discussion there. I think things are going really well, right?
The discussion's going okay. I put the I pasted a link for the Google form for questions for this call there. So
cool.
Yeah, we got 13 questions, so
there's probably some from those guys. I'm sure there's 3 guys who I know asked the question.
Nice. Well, I think one of those guys you said had actually come over and filled a bounty on our side.
Yeah, he did the Dune Analytics.
He made us an awesome Dune Analytics page, which you guys can go look at. Yeah, he did a really great job. And, so just the fact that he had come on and was kind of critical of Tellor in the beginning, and now he made us an awesome Dune Analytics page from his own research, but that we can kind of continue to use. So
Yep.
It was really cool. Anyway, we're working on a few things there, and hopefully over the next week or two, that should be buttoned up and we'll be live in Ample's contracts, which would be super cool. Other things, we're also, at the end of this week, we're going to be putting forward a proposal in the MCDEX world. MCDEX is they're actually a derivatives exchange over on Arbitrum. We'll be using the fellowship for this, and yeah, so we're just kind of buttoning up that proposal, and we'll be submitting it to them. It'll be kind of a similar process to the Ampleforth piece, where there will be some time, an unspecified amount of time for community discussion there, and then we'll go live. So yeah, it should go relatively smoothly. I think for them, they can have like as many oracles as they want, so it's not as, say, contentious as like Ampleforth, who you have to be baked into a smart contract. Theoretically, they could have a derivative contract on a Tellor oracle, one on a centralized oracle, one on a link oracle. So getting accepted as like a contract on a Tellor oracle, it doesn't kick out any of the other oracles. It's just, we'll see what people want to trade on. So that'll be super cool. Look forward to that. They've been cool, and it's cool. This will be really our first roll-up chain that we'll be going to, which will be new world here in Ethereum. Okay, I think that's it. If you guys notice, Mike's not on the call. Mike will probably not be on these calls for a few weeks. He's a little bit busy, so we'll let him post whenever he's ready. Anyway, but he's obviously still with the team, and he's great. He's doing great. Ryan, would you like to kick off the questions?
Yeah. All right, so the first question, not really a question, limited edition how? There's no question mark, and I'm not really sure what's referencing, so we'll move to the next one. I'm from the Ample server. I'd like to hear about the red teaming that was done during the development of Tellor.
The red teaming?
Like the color red.
I'm gonna Google
I
it.
don't know.
All right,
Please.
while Sean Googles, maybe we go to the next one.
Apparently it is a term, and maybe there's time. Yeah.
You know what the term is?
Yes. So it means rigorously challenging plans, policies, systems, and assumptions by adopting an adversarial approach.
This must be the guy who was talking about red hatting.
Yes. Yes. I was like, yeah. So if you to talk about like what kind of assumptions we had made in trying to build an oracle, it was, we tried to go through all of the crypto economic pieces, and it's really like one of those game theory type things with all of these crypto economic systems. You have to walk through, well, if somebody's trying to censor your system, how would they do it? If somebody's trying to come in and let's say they want to put bad values on chain, or they want to prevent good values from getting on chain, or they wanted to break Ethereum, how could they do that in your system? And we've really tried to walk through a lot of those. So you can see there's quite a few security analyses we've posted on our Medium accounts. There's quite a few that we originally did in our white paper. I think it's probably in the older white paper now. And then we've also just been live for a while, especially when it comes to breaking any of the minor systems, and then any of the smart contracts. Like really, all of these smart contracts, like, we know that we've had bugs in our system, and we'll probably continue to find bugs, but really the only thing that shows you that you're bug free in your smart contract system is being live for long periods of time. And that's about it, because this whole space is moving so fast. So we're all learning, and But yeah, we've definitely done a lot of those kind of trying to break our own system type stuff. And sometimes, yeah, early on especially, we would kind of break it, and everyone was a little bit more friendly. So, you know, it wasn't, whenever things were a lot smaller and not a whole lot of real money was at stake, you know, the whole system was worth $1 million. So breaking something and telling everyone to restart, or you could just message all of the miners in one Discord channel. It was a little bit easier. So
Cool. Next question is Discord channels for Reddit or Twitter bot. That's actually not a bad idea. I think maybe Alari, that's something we can have Alari look into. But that's a great idea.
Laurie is a Discord bot.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. When can we expect an overview / pros and cons compared to other oracles?
I think other people have done those. You know, usually it's always hard. Like, you know, we could show you the pros and cons, but it always, and if it comes from a team, like same way if like Chainlink posted a pros and cons of Tellor versus Chainlink, like you sort of have to discount it without even reading it. Granted, they can be fair comparisons, but you know, usually the biggest thing is, because I think a lot of whenever you're comparing Chainlink to Tellor to Band or any of these other oracles, it comes down to a lot of like what you actually think is censorship resistant or decentralized. You know, like is a multi-sig with 9 signers decentralized? Not really, but you know, I would say not really, but some people might say yes, that is decentralized. You know, same with, this goes back to even whenever you're arguing layer ones, like you know, like was EOS decentralized? EOS would say yes, and people building on EOS would say yes, but then basically everyone in the Ethereum community would laugh at that claim. You know, like DPoS was kind of generally seen as like, no, this isn't decentralized, and that's how it fell. But you know, we see these same kind of arguments popping up, and there's a lot of nuance that goes into it. So yeah, it's really tough to say, especially whenever you talk about pros and cons, you know, because you could say like similar to like the ETH EOS comparison, it's like, well, EOS is so much faster and so much better. And it's like, well, ultimately all of those features actually don't matter. So having any of those comparisons of those features doesn't matter if you can't get over the threshold of like, well, EOS is a centralized database. So, you know, same with if you're looking at oracles, like if you're crazy fast, support any kind of data, or say that you're infinitely secure and can't be bribed on chain, well, all that's completely fine. But if you're ultimately just a database run by one guy, like it really, you know, it just, the entire comparison is actually useless. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I've actually, somebody might have asked that because I said I was going to do it, and I've tried to.
You're on the hook, John.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on it, and it's difficult, especially when it comes to like Chainlink in particular, because I mean, we're so different. Like Tellor, the way Tellor works is so completely different from the way Chainlink works, and the philosophy of you guys, like of you guys, the founders, is completely different. So it's hard to talk in the same language. It's like they're people who like Chainlink and people who like Tellor. It's just hard to get them to like to find points that these enthusiasts could agree on.
Yes.
So that's the struggle.
Semantic.
Yeah.
All right. In terms of technical progress, where 0 is at the beginning and 10 is perfectly done project, where would you see Tellor right now?
I mean, well, like, where's live? Like, you know, so we're obviously live. We've been live for a while. We have we're functioning and we're very, very useful on Ethereum, but there's obviously still a lot that we want to do. I mean, I don't know where you put that on your scale, but so.
All right. Any other companies looking at TRB network, and when will they start using TRB platform?
I think that the fact that they called it the TRB network is almost telling in some ways. But yeah, no, we're talking to a lot of people who are trying to use us. I would say the conversations have actually been really different over the last few months. I mean, and Ryan, you're kind of on the business development side too. It seems to be a lot more people are building off of Ethereum or doing things that are more sidechain focused, and then early on, we were talking to projects trying to build on Ethereum. Now it's projects that are trying to build on some other chain. So it's interesting that we've sort of seen that shift, especially in projects that are coming to us and starting to build. It's how do we bridge Tellor values over to this roll up? How do we get you guys to submit here? Can we use Tellor as a bridge? Things like that. It's a completely different world than a year ago, where everyone was really kind of just on Ethereum, and we were trying to go after the big projects on Ethereum. Now all of the big new projects they have some sort of scaling solution, because ETH just doesn't work. So but that said, since they're all on layer 2s, a lot of these layer 2s aren't even ready yet. So that's why things take even longer now, because like Arbitrum, like we were saying with the MCDEX proposal, we've been waiting to do the MCDEX proposal. Now we've been in talks with them for 6 months, and it hasn't been on them. It hasn't been on us. We've been waiting for Arbitrum to launch, and they just opened up like this week for people to deploy on mainnet. So it's a completely brand new system, which I'm sure is going to have its own set of issues. So by the time it's like sort of tested enough, even a little bit, that you feel comfortable putting large amounts of money over there, it's going to be a few months even out from there. So you just have to realize how early all of this stuff is.
When ETH 2.0 happens, will Tellor holders have to do a swap?
I mean, this is a question for the ETH developers. Will token holders have to swap to get new tokens on ETH 2.0? I don't think so. I think the current plan is that ETH 1 is going to be like a shard of ETH 2 or something like that. But yeah, it's going to be, we're all in the same boat. I have no private information on how ETH 2.0 is going to roll out, but hopefully ETH 2.0 moves quickly, and then we can make a newer, better Tellor that works on really fast chains.
All right, I don't know, this sounds like an Olari question. Why can we see the Mandalorian's face if he's a real Mandalorian?
Is this my real face? That's the question. Yes.
How big is the team at the moment, and what would be the preferable amount of employees?
Brenda? How big's the team?
Preferable amount of employees. So we don't have a target number of employees. We have workload, and as we see that we need people, we hire people. We're also very conservative in terms of how many people we hire, because as you guys know, the market is super volatile, and we want to make sure that when we bring somebody on board, they can stay with us for a long time. With that said, we are still hiring for devs. So if you are a dev, reach out to us. We're also hiring for more like an operations engineer. So if you are also maybe not fully in the space, but you are technical, we're still hiring. I believe we're still looking for a marketing person. So if you know somebody or are that somebody, reach out to us as well. In terms of target, and like I said, we're just trying to make sure that we have enough people to reach our goals for the end of the year. We have Tellor Ed coming up. We have a few things already on our plate, including some integrations. So
yeah, but I'd say it's like different than like a normal company, though. Like we're not trying to grow indefinitely. We would ultimately, like, we have some work to do, but you want slowly over time the community to start picking up more of these pieces. As Tellor becomes more stable and what we've built, and the community kind of takes over and more of like a DAO aspect. Like same with like Ethereum isn't growing and building projects under it. It's kind of, these are all just people building on Ethereum. And yes, there's still a foundation that manages some things, and you give grants to try and do ETH2, but you're not, it's not centralized. And I think ideally for us too, once we hit 20 employees would be like as big as I would say we would want to get. And then you kind of, hopefully you get more and more people out in the world building things, and doing those. So it's, yeah, you're kind of sacrificing that centralized growth for a more organic community growth, if that makes sense.
What partnerships are you guys working on? Are you marketing?
Mike's not here, but I'll just say it's not really our thing. Yeah, I mean, as soon as you guys know about a partnership, we'll probably not call it a partnership. We'll call it about they're using Tellor, and we will let you guys know. And yeah, that's all we can say.
Can the Oracle become modular in the future and expand the functionality? For example, functions that do not require increased security but will be useful and plug in as needed.
I think they're talking about like kind of a comparison to like Link, where you can specify how many nodes you want reporting on something. We sort of have a completely different architecture, so it's not, the question doesn't necessarily make as much sense in Tellor terms, but I think we're holding our feet to the fire. Like in 10 days or something like that, we're releasing the Tellor X white paper. So you guys just wait. It's gonna blow your minds. It's really good. I finished up my first draft of it, and now the team's gonna have a look and really tell me it's awful, hopefully. So.
And then last but not least, I'm new to crypto. How do I buy Ample? I need details.
Yes, probably the wrong chat for this, but no, I think Ample's really big on Uniswap now. That's probably the easiest way to get Ample, So yeah, we like the Ample guys. They're also on Coinbase, so just hop on Coinbase. So anyway, that's it, Ryan?
That's it.
Awesome. Well, it was a fun call. Thanks everyone for watching, and yeah, we will talk to you guys next week. See you.